Be a killer recipe. 726 Monday, May 16th. Sir, I wanted to just shout out my uncle as I was able to coach the second malfunctional fitness class Saturday at Custom Fitness. I just want to thank Custom Fitness for allowing me the opportunity to do this, first of all, because you guys know and I never, ever thought in my whole life that I would be able to put fitness coach on my resume. It's a little bit of an asterisk. But it was the second class, and we could see there was more people that showed up this Saturday, including I had some Luta people there. Yeah, it was awesome. We had people from Malolo that showed up. Agania Heights, bunkers were in the house with Uncle Lou. It was a really awesome time. It was malfunctional fitness, and it was just an hour of just different functional movements. Like I told you guys the first Saturday, we kind of did the sit to stand, which is something that my uncle do probably, in their opinion, too much in one day. And then we did the hinge movement, which is drop something and pick it up. And then for this Saturday, we kind of focused on overhead movement and diagonal movement. And so it was really fun. It was really, really fun. Yeah, so we were doing overhead and we were able to do some diagonal. Is there a video playing? There's a video playing. Thank you, sir. As you can see the video right there. But it was just awesome, especially the pandemic. I was thinking about this morning. This pandemic, imagine me as a dug crab, right? Before the pandemic, I was always out of my shell, going everywhere. You never had to be like, dug, come out, Chris. With the pandemic, and I think for a lot of people, I got not comfortable, but used to the relative isolation, right? Because I never stayed home because we were working the whole time. At Joe Service, there's a bunch of people that we would go to work with. And so I never felt that like lockdown isolation, but I got used to just having this small circle of people that I interacted with. So, we talk about the new normal and the crowds and, being able to do something like have a bunch of Mononco come out to this class and also not really worried about whether they're going to wear the mask or whatever. It was just really awesome. Really awesome. And I get a kick out of how happy Mononco are this. I don't know what it is. They just love me, and I'm so grateful, knocking on wood. If you're one of those Mononco that doesn't love me, I'm sorry. But yeah, it's awesome. They're just, the Mononco really know how to make you feel special. And anytime I get to do anything with them, and over the years, it's always been something I went to. I remember we used to go sing up here at Catholic Social Services. We used to go up here and sing at their adult daycare center. Me and Julius and Andy, we used to go karaoke for them. But it's always fun to do stuff with the Mononco, and I just wanted to share with you guys. I don't know if we're going to do another one down the road, right? Because it's always busy over there at Custom Fitness. But it was just great, I think, to get these Mononco out for this class. And I think it was more fun for me. They had fun, don't get me wrong, but I had a blast. Good morning. 729. Yes, Mayor Jesse Alig has entered the waiting room here, sir. Let's go ahead and get Mayor Jesse Alig on. Remember, we got our big announcement coming up at around 8 o'clock this morning, guys. So don't miss it. Miss a link, miss a lot. And good morning, Mayor Alig here, joining us in the KUAM News Zoom room. Hi, Mayor.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning. How was your weekend?
Man, it's Tinsuli time. It's Tinsuli season. Yeah, everyone's graduating. Everyone's doing something. There's confirmation. There's Holy Communion. Everyone's, everyone's being born. Everyone's passing on to a new life.
Right.
It's Tinsuli season.
I know. I think we need another program in Salapi just for the Tinsuli. They should do like, can we get a program in Tinsuli?
There you go.
Is that a million dollars?
Hey, that affects us. That's a good one.
Maybe Lester Carlson could cook up something in his kitchen.
Yeah, I'm sure he could use some of that surplus.
Mayor, though, I know that, so we talked to you last week, just I guess within the last week, what are the developments of the Mayor's Council?
Oh, okay. Well, you know what? One of the bigger things that we're doing, and it just like I think I mentioned the last time, was just procuring everything that we need with the money that we have. So I always said that it was Christmas, right? In 2022.
Right.
And so now now we're trying to deal with the Christmas rush. It's a good thing. And I was talking to some people over the weekend, and somebody had commented that it took them over a year to find a contractor. And I guess we anticipated this. And so I know I mentioned it the last time that it was good that we weren't getting the entire 17 million at one time. So that, Maput, right? It's just hard to find these contractors. So I mean, I hate to use that as an excuse, and I don't want to use that as an excuse. Let me give you an example. We qualified for a GITA grant here in PT, so it was below 25,000, and nobody wanted to do it. Nobody wanted to do the project, right? But it took us some time. It took us quite a while, but we got it done, right? And so then you have all the other villages that have larger renovations and repair, and so that's what's getting done now. We're happy though with the senior citizens operations, because there's still, last week there was a constant flow. It followed the first week of Manamco, so we're seeing generally around 400 returning, which is good, and it's manageable. So far so good, and that's what's keeping us busy, especially because there's some turnaround in the senior citizens operation. So there's some new people there, and they're getting used to that work. And I did not receive any major complaints. I do know that we did have the Zone Talafofo Center down, but those participants are going to the Manila Center. And those issues are being addressed. Other than that, there are no issues that I know of for the senior centers. I do know that bingo is a big deal, so we have to keep on top of bingo, our bingo license, and all of that. Those operations. So that's certainly something that is from the Zone Talafofo Center.
Mayor, when you talk about having issues finding contractors and these are for the smaller jobs, like under 25 grand, is that what you said?
Yeah. Correct.
So what is the actual issue? Is that there are so many projects that everyone is taken up, or is it that nobody wants to do a project for under 25,000?
Nobody wants to do the project for under 25,000. Wow. The contractors that are out there, they want to do the big stuff. I mean, even the roads. We've been complaining about the roads and how slow the paving of the roads were. And Vince Ariola, he's like, I'm not holding you guys back. It's just that there's bigger fish on the other side of on the other side of the fence. So, we're experiencing that same problem, and so. There are contractors out there for sure, but not everyone wants the small projects. And then, the handyman contractors, the handyman licenses that might not qualify because there's a certain amount for a handyman, and most of the work it needs to be done by a contractor as opposed to a handyman.
What type of certification or licensing does a contractor need to do that? The jobs that are above handyman level.
Well, I think you just need to have, depending on. So I don't do the procurement, and I don't know what documents are necessary, but I'm sure there's a contractor's license that's necessary to prove to our certifying officer in order to get paid. So those, if you're just a handyman and you're just doing minor repair that's below 1,000 or 1,000 and below, I'm sure that will fly with whatever license you have. But if you have, you're doing repair, making roof repair that costs $10,000, or electrical repair for 12,000, that's probably not a handyman's job, and you need an electrician. And typically, the electricians that are around that can do it are not licensed, right? Because they're good at what they do, but they're not licensed. So this is kind of why, not kind of, this was why when we talked to Monica Guzman and Cliff from Guma, and we talked about the cottage business, on the home-based businesses,
Yeah.
this is what we were hoping to, to develop, because those small home-based businesses of good carpenters and good electricians could be a part of that program and could actually help us in the end. And even in our own village, we do know of carpenters and electricians who do that by trade, but are not licensed, right? And so, could we employ them? Yeah, and so this is an example. This is what we're using, because the GUMA project that we had presented at our last meeting as an update is ongoing throughout all the other villages, and so this is the example that we're setting to everyone, is if you're a good electrician and you're good at what you do, job, well, what about consider, attending these presentations and becoming licensed in your own way and having a home-based business. So when you're off at 5 or on Saturdays and Sundays when you're off, you could, make some business from even the mayor's office, right? Yeah. So because I know that the example that Guma was using was like making homemade goods like empanada and risquetti and that kind of stuff. And certainly we want that, but we have to take a look at other things, and this is one of them, right? Yeah. So other kind of handyman work,
functional,
yeah, right.
Mayor, are there a lot of those under $25,000 jobs? It's not just the one, right? So maybe if people are listening and they have the ability to I don't know, get these licenses, would they be able to survive doing those jobs?
Most of the mayors have projects, so if there are people listening that are willing to bid, you simply just need to call a mayor's office and let them know you're interested, and they can send you. Obviously they can't give you the details. They'd have to send a request to you, and then you certainly can submit a bid or a quotation. So, yeah, if they're interested, they can call any mayor's office you can call the PD mayor's office at 472-1232 because we do have some work too. But yeah, you just call any mayor's office, and if they have any kind of work that needs to get done, see if you can give them an offer, send them an offer. And they as long as details are not discussed between you and the mayor prior to the sending of your offer, everything should be okay.
Yeah. Right on. Any update, Mayor, on Liberation Day festivities / memorials?
No real update. The wheels are turning. We're just trying to iron out all the details that everyone wants to know. I know you want to know when we're going to line up. We still don't know. We don't have that ready to announce yet. But we're still working on them. We do have a committee meeting this week to iron out some other issues. We're going to change the way we vote on the floats this year. So, that's a big deal.
How are we changing it, Mayor?
Well, you have to stay tuned. I can't give you all the information. you have to listen to the link every Monday. Right. And one Monday, I'm going to tell you.
So, Mayor, how do we refresh my memory? How do we vote on the floats as of now?
So there's a criteria, right? There's a list of what you need to do to your float in order to qualify for a prize. And then there's a set of judges that are selected, and then the judges vote, rate your float before the float starts at the beginning of the parade. And then at the end of the parade, it's announced. So that's one of the things that I'm concerned about, is that we don't know when they're when they're checking. We don't know. we don't know when they're actually voting. So now we're gonna know, and so we'll let you know. I tell you, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. Everyone's gonna want to participate.
Don't blush, Mayor. Sorry, guys. Every time Mayor Alig comes on, we get it in the comments where people are like, "Oh, Mayor chuckles," and we've had comments before where they're like, "Oh, his lips are so juicy." So I just had to shoot you. One of my coworkers shot me a message, and they said, "Can you tell Mayor Alig he's my favorite mayor? That smile, chuckles, those lips, boy."
That was just, can we go video off?
Mayors, have you guys already started the friendly competition just between villages and with the floats?
Oh no, we haven't. Oh, I think we have not. Friendly competition. I have to tell you though that we did discuss at our last meeting to have this village competition. So the mayors are working on that. Uh, throughout the pandemic, everyone kind of we just did our own thing just to get our community safe, keep them safe, and just get the job done and keep on moving forward. And so I think now is the time to, you know, well, not stop, but we still have to smell the roses somehow. And so hopefully we're going to put together this intramural tournament for the mayor's council, and that'll be fun to get go village by village and have our own competitions between our staff. And typically, our staff, we get together with our staff, but we haven't been able to do that. And we have a large, about 230 employees. So that's fun. I thought you were going to ask about that, but yeah, we're working on that.
Yeah, let me ask about that. How about that intramural thing with the mayors and their staff?
So we haven't decided on what sport it's going to be, but of course, I was advocating for dodgeball and kickball because I can do that. I can dodge the ball and I can kick the ball. But por favor, the baseball. I played baseball as a child. I never was good, and I could never hit the ball, but I could run. Yeah. So yeah. Anyway. Or football, right? I mean, we couldn't do that. Someone's going to get hurt, and it might be me.
Right. I mean, I don't know about dodgeball. If you got any staff who's upset with their mayor, they might just put a little extra on those throws.
Well, there you go. That's a good way to release some tension.
Mayor, what about abandoned vehicles? I know we were talking last week about the problem with the vouchers. Is that the same? Has there been any development with that?
There hasn't been any new development on it. We continue to make sure that we can get the abandoned vehicles taken care of from the larger villages. There still is the problem with the limit, the purchase order limit, but we can't break the law, right? So we just kind of have to follow that for now, and we can help them out. It's the Dedito mayor that is the most active, and I feel bad for them because the vice mayor, and I have to say that's a great team. The mayor and the vice mayor, they work well together. And I know that the vice mayor is always out there, and he communicates with us as well about his issues with not being able to collect more vehicles. But there's ways in which we can help him. And so I know that most of us have been trying to help them dispose their vehicles until we can finally resolve our procurement issues with extending that purchase order amount. So that's part of our budget for fiscal 23, or we're trying to include that. Of course, there's some concern about it being tacked on to the budget bill, but for us, we're not trying to evade a public hearing. We're not even trying to evade any kind of law that governs that fund. We're just asking for a little more flexibility so we can continue to use the money from that fund to do exactly what it wants us to do, which is clean up the island. Right. And there's proof to show that 50,000 is not sufficient, especially for the larger villages. When you're talking about the medium to smaller villages, certainly we don't have the volume as the other 7. But when you're talking about those 7 villages who can, in 2 weeks, use up the entire purchase order, I mean, that's the issue. So hopefully everything goes okay. I do know, and I mentioned at the public hearing as well, that Speaker Terlahi does have a bill to actually remove the purchase order cap. And I'm hoping that goes through too. I mean, if that's just amends the law, then we don't have to do this every budget act, right, or every budget bill. Yeah. So And of course, there's always the paper today. The governor. I never knew the governor's stance on waste to energy, and I guess I know now what it is. And I mean, if that's the case, then we did have a presentation from Dave Sablon from
Right.
GRP
Now, the
on
governor's
waste.
the governor's opposed to waste to energy, right?
Right, correct, right. So, um, yeah, and so when we received the presentation from Dave Sablon, of course, it I think there was interest from the majority of the council,
Mm.
but there that just and he's right. It's political. It's going to be political.
Right.
Whether we send a resolution in favor of waste to energy or not, it still has it still would need the governor's signature. And so in this case, I'm not sure how the council will vote now on it, but we're certainly going to entertain it.
Yeah.
We'll entertain it because it's important that we understand all sides, as opposed to just following what Dave Sablon wants or following what the governor wants. It's about understanding both sides and making that informed decision. So hopefully the council will entertain it, and we can we would have a stance on it.
Yeah.
But as of now, we just heard we don't have a stance.
Yeah.
We have not set a stance.
They definitely could use some rebranding, right? Because when at least my generation, when we think about waste to energy, what we think about is not necessarily the technology, but the contract that was so controversial, right? That was put in place, and that, I mean, I'm sure the history of it, right? And this contract was so sketchy. It was something like we would have to be shipping in trash from like other islands and other places just to meet a quota to operate this waste energy incinerator. But I like I said, if they do rebranding and say, hey, it's not going to be like that. This is what it is now in 2022. I mean, maybe I'm totally unclear on the technology and how damaging or not it is to the environment.
I agree, and I remember I was in high school at the time, right. And I just it made me go to a waste to energy facility just to see. I mean, that's how interested I was in it, especially because the proposed site was Guatali.
Right.
And, that's in our backyard here in PT.
Literally.
And yeah, so I wasn't living in PT at the time, but, my family is from here. So it was interesting. So I did go, and I mentioned it to Dave Sablon that I actually went to see a site in Seattle, and I was impressed. I was very impressed about with the facility. I understand what the governor was saying about her concerns about the emissions, and I didn't see anything wrong there. And they certainly did their presentations. And I listened to some people talk about listen to the community side and the effects, and it didn't really seem like there was an issue. And when you think about Seattle versus Guam, right, yeah. that's a big difference, right? And so but then the concern, like you mentioned, it's like the thought of shipping in trash from other places just to get that facility profitable.
Yeah, and that was at that time, right? And I mean,
right.
Our population has grown. I mean, I don't even think there's an issue with us producing enough trash. We're probably producing too much.
Right. Definitely. Yeah. And that's why, honestly, when I bumped into Dave Sablon, I talked to him about it, because I thought, could it be an opportune time to rethink this idea? And I think it is. And reading the article today on the governor's stance, I don't believe she's hard and fast on it. I think there's ways to convince her, to show her, with the ways in which we can achieve this, both from waste energy and through sustainability, because it's of course there's a big push for sustainability. There's a big push for that whole concept, and the mayors are all on board with it. For sure. So
yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to talk about emissions, Mayor. Whenever I'm driving down Marine Corps Drive towards PT and I see the PT power plant and the spewing of, the smoke and stuff. So, I mean, I'm not saying that's why we need to build a waste energy. I'm just curious about the research and what it represents today in 2022. Because like Dave Sablon's still going around.
Yeah.
Still going around with this waste energy thing, bro? It's been like 30 years.
I know. I was like, I don't mean to. I'm not. I do not. I don't want to insult him because he's a great guy.
Yeah.
But I was like, wow, Dave Sublime.
You here for the church? You hear the incinerator? Got it. You still got that thing? Right on you.
Dave Sublime. That's true.
Yep.
But you know, in the back then, I remember it was Carl Gutierrez was the governor at the time.
Yeah.
And I remember that he he was a proponent of it.
Yes.
And so I'm thinking, but I'm like, okay, of course, Carl Gutierrez will be a proponent of it, and of course, Governor Liu is going to be,
But I mean, if you look at, they're both in the same administration now, right? It's interesting.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know. Something's burning over there at GVB. I don't know. Yeah, man. Yep. Well, anything on the memorials? What are we going to close with?
Well, there's nothing new on the memorials. Okay. Where all of those.
Oh, I got one. I was going to ask. So when they came out with their press release, you probably don't want to answer this. When they came out with their press release about the teachers' pay raises, right at the end, it said something about all of their staff will be considered in the general pay plan study, right? Which to me, and I said this a few days ago, was that I felt like that was kind of like a little hint that everyone else who, is not in law enforcement, not a nurse, not a teacher, principal, or administrator, that, help may be on the way for you guys. But what about like the mayor's staff? When you talk about people who deserve a raise, have you compared the pay of your staff to, their counterparts in the States? And do you think that the mayor's staff and others deserve these raises? Because it kind of seems like if they're talking about a general pay plan study, then it could be coming down.
Yeah, well, I mean, the quick answer and the obvious answer is yes, of course. Of course, our staff deserve a raise, and our staff deserve to be compensated based on their performance. The hard answer is having to deal with their classification. And I don't want to belabor this because we've been talking about it in the council, and there's certainly some of my colleagues who think otherwise and think that, well, no, our staff deserve to have increments like other employees, like other government employees. They should
guys, just so you know, the mayor's staffers, they're all unclassified
right
hires.
Right. And so a lot of them are not even, I know our executive director always says that they are classified based on the government scale. But when you think about it, they're at the low end of those scales. I mean, they really are at the lower end of the scales. And so the comments about it are that, well, that's unclassified work, and, it's a hire and fire position, and they don't need to go through the merit process, which is true. They don't need to fill out an application and get their application profiled and rated. It's whether or not the mayor wants to hire them or not. And so, of course, that's one thing to consider. Then when you consider an employee that's been with the council for over 20 years, well, see, that's the hard part, because there are unclassifieds that have been with us for more than 20 years. And that's because they've done such a stellar job. And the new mayor, whether they were, because the old mayor did not run, or the old mayor was not reelected, right, the new mayor brought them back or carried them on. Again, that's because of their work ethic and what they've done. Do they deserve a raise in classified work? Yes, they do. In unclassified work, I mean, that's the argument, is it's unclassified. They don't actually have to,
so they're not part of they're not going to be part of the general pay plan. But I mean, when I'm saying, when everyone else gets the raise eventually, because I feel like it's probably going to happen and happen soon. Where does that put the workers? Like, and I'm not talking about the unclassified, like, big gun Power Ranger political, staffers up at Adaloop or whatever. I'm talking about like in your case, these mayor staffers who, like you said, are unclassified. So we raise everyone up in similar fields.
I don't think it'll affect our unclassified, but it should affect our 10 classified at our admin office. Right. So we have, I think, is 10 staff that are classified at the admin office, and that's our assistant, our certifying officer that is assigned to that work, and then the other workers there that do our accounts. So those are classified, and I believe they might be positively affected by that.
Right. Yeah.
Which is good, because if we should get the unclassifieds get a raise, which is typically almost never, it doesn't affect them. I was going to say something about it, but it slipped my mind. Yeah, it's a crazy deal, crazy subject to talk about with our staff, and that's why when we appreciate other staff and other workers or other agencies, I just really, sometimes I ask, okay, we appreciate everyone else that gets paid a whole lot more than our staff, but no one really says thank you to our staff, other than I think KOAM did one time, and
Yeah. Thank you.
LMS did one time. I just have to say it because they did come out to us. And they came to our office and they gave us something for our staff, and it's but yeah, anyway. That's a sore subject for me.
Sounds like we need to have a mayor's staff. I mean, we've got a nurses day, we've got a teachers appreciation day, we've got days of appreciation for workers, types of workers I didn't even know existed, but there's no mayor's staff appreciation day.
Well, and our staff get like, gosh, a quarter of what those others make.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like, okay. Anyway.
Yeah, anyway, Mayor, if it was going to happen in any year, I feel like this would be the year that it would happen.
It's Christmas.
The first ever mayor's staff appreciation day.
Anything is possible in 2022.
Amen, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you too. Have a great week.
You too. Have a great week. That's Mayor Jesse Alig. Chuckles. Cheerful is some of his other pet names. It's 7:57. Oh, we have a big announcement coming up here in just a few moments. We're going to take a quick break, and I got to go get the envelope.